Hello everyone, and welcome to the 7th edition of your daily dose of Terraform. My name is Anton Babenka. I'm gonna to entertain you today, and we will be going through different things related to Terraform. Well, that's kind of typical for me. But after today's or yesterday's announcement, which I have heard during HashiConf, I think I will actually expand my toolset and actually will be covering Waypoint as well. I will talk about what is Waypoint, and I think it's just amazing. Well, amazing is just probably the smallest thing which I can say. But anyway, that's really awesome. So we will be going through different things related to HashiConf, and yes, thanks everyone for joining. Hello, Michael from well, I still don't remember if it's Switzerland or France, but from somewhere in between. And hello, Denise, and hello everyone from different parts of the world. So the announcements from HashiConf will be the first one, and then I will be going through Terraform 0.14, which has been released as beta 1 yesterday, but well, it never stopped us from going deeper and actually looking how things designed, and I will try to show different things which I think are cool, and maybe you can actually ask questions, because I think it is amazing to be able to try it before it is actually publicly released as final version, so we can actually see how our code actually works, and then we can somehow upgrade. I can tell you in advance that upgrade process is not going to be as painful as from 0.11 to 0.12, so take it easy. Let's get going. And well, you know that this kind of things couldn't be possible because of sponsors. So the sponsor of this stream is again env0 or inv0. I'm not good with English, you know. So env0 is the company where you can specify different templates, and it's like Terraform Cloud, but for humans. Okay. I mean, well, Terraform Cloud is also for humans, but Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise are products by HashiCorp where they enforce you to do some things in one way, while env0 is focusing on providing you ways to control your templates, Terraform templates, and well, if I don't have anything right now here, but if you create a code from the template, you will be able to set different policies and make sure that these policies are not violated, and you can actually see how much it will cost, and so and so. A lot of features, and this market is pretty cool right now. So you can go and see it yourself. If you go to env0.com/Anton, that's the best place to start. Okay, so thanks for that again, and let's get going with HashiConf. So I told a couple times already that HashiConf was digital, and well, you all know that it was digital. I don't want to repeat it again. But if it was wrong time zone for you, then you can go to digital.hashiconf.com, on-demand videos, and actually see on-demand videos yourself. There are all of videos already published, so you can just go there and see which one you prefer. I looked at pretty much all of those videos related to Terraform or Waypoint or some other products, and well, I'm not going to say anything about content. It's totally subjective, but it's yeah, it was not many things which were very new or very much well, you decided yourself. Okay, I'm not going to say anything about it. But there were a couple things related to Terraform which I think are relevant for many people who are using Terraform. So just go there, it's free, and I think it will be available for the next 2 weeks, so hurry up. After this period, some of these videos will be published on YouTube. Maybe they will be published in like gradual manner, so that not all of this will be available at once. So just go there right now. I mean, not right now, of course, but after this stream, and see which one you are most interested. Overall, the content was very, very similar to previous HashiConfs, where we heard about TFE, well, more than once, at least twice, from different talks, where customers were telling us how they use Terraform Enterprise or Terraform Cloud and how they achieved their goals, which is pretty cool to hear. And I'm glad that now there were same amount of representative from HashiCorp as well as customers, which is pretty cool. This year there was also some change related to Lightning talks. There were a lot of Lightning talks. Well, now all of them are gone, of course, but this maybe past Lightning talks. Yeah, past Lightning talks can show you all Lightning talks which were there. I missed pretty much all of them, which I put into my calendar because notification system is far from ideal, I would say. So I missed all of them completely. And when I see that there are, let's say, 304 people willing to talk about Terraform style guide, 304 people, that's, oh my god, that's a lot. And I'm quite sure that there were less than half of these people because of notification system and the way how it works. But anyway, it just indicated that people wanted to talk about Terraform style guide, how to write reusable code. Well, I would also like to know how to do this, so please talk to me. I don't know how to write it. Okay, jokes aside. Oh, no, jokes not aside. This is one LinkedIn post which I wrote yesterday, and I want to just highlight it here that the best way of testing in Terraform now is to push to master branch and wait half an hour for people who didn't pin version to open an issue. Half an hour for the popular Terraform AWS module is enough. I know, I tried it. Here is a better way to do testing. And this is a link to last week episode where I talked about Terraform testing provider. And I think this is one of the most prominent and one of the most correct, I would say, direction where Terraform testing should go. And I talked about this last week. If you have not watched that video, please go and check it. It's somewhere in this, somewhere in this YouTube or whatever you're watching it from. You can go to previous streams and you can see it there. The point of this one is that, I'm explaining not just that, hey, this is a new product, but I'm also trying to explain that this is the right way of not overcomplicating things. Not many people want to write complicated code because, hey, HashiCorp already gave us HCL. I mean, why on earth I want to make my life harder? Of course I don't want. So HCL is the right way to do for testing if you are talking about Terraform. So that was not a joke. Well, I mean, it was a joke, but it was partially a joke because now you have to push into master and wait for people. This is like a crowdsourced way of testing. Okay, you push it somewhere and you go and make tea or coffee. Yeah, coffee is good. And then you come back and you see what has been broken. Okay, so this is one of announcement which I wanted to share. Another thing which I want to kind of raise is let's talk about HashiConf. Yeah, quick review of Waypoint. That's what Vladislav Mahilevsky just asked. Yes, there will be some really quick review because obviously I didn't have chance to play with it myself because it was just too late. So let's go through all announcements. And on the first day and before actually they were announced, Boundary appeared in the blog. It was about half hour before the official release, which was pretty cool. So here is the project definition. Well, the blog post is of course saying much more than I can explain, But just in a nutshell, what is it? Well, what is it? Simple and secure remote access to any system anywhere based on trusted identity. Well, sounds cool, and I'm sure that Jeff Mitchell can explain you in much more technical details because he's security expert. What I can say from my user point of view, what it is just a way to simplify how people can access resources in private network. So, for example, you have database and you want to give people access. You can do this through VPN or through Bastion host. And what Boundary does is that they run client on user side, which will use open identity provider and use that credential to pass through. Well, you don't see it here, but to pass these credentials through the Boundary client to the private resource which you want to achieve. This is currently version 0.1, but it's pretty exciting the way how it has started. Is that this product already has learning page on learn.hashicorp.com/boundary where you can see. And I was really excited to see when I opened this page pretty much instantly that they already have a few sections, how to, like introduction, how to install, how to do something with it, which was pretty cool. I mean, that's the right way of doing, not just write your code and then hope that people will somehow figure out. Well, no, they actually have to know how things has to be done. So again, I think I'm saying big thanks to learning team at HashiCorp pretty much every stream, because that's just insane how well they actually do technical documentation. I wish I can do the same for some of my products. Okay, and another piece of things which I highly recommend to watch is just this video by Armon. Armon is, I mean, he has talent of explaining complicated things in how much? In 18 minutes. Okay, so he spent 18 minutes explaining everything. After I watched this one, I thought like, oh my god, that's so obvious. I mean, that's we definitely need this kind of tool. So yeah, this kind of tool is like a must-have if you have Bastion host or if you're struggling with VPN. I dislike two of these tools myself because I feel that they're a little bit old-fashioned, but I couldn't explain why they are so old-fashioned and what exactly the problems are. Armon does it perfectly, and again, just check it out, his video. Okay, so let's move on. We have a little bit more to do. So after this, there were a lot of different announcements related to what is it? HashiCorp Cloud Platform solutions, so that now Vault is available there as a hosted solution on AWS, and also there is Console private beta available for people to be able to use. One question which stops me from spending any significant amount of time when I see this announcement is pricing. I have no clue how much it will cost. Will it be closer to free version, like where you pay just for, let's say, AWS resources plus hourly fee for these hosted solutions, which will, let's say, sum up into something easy to compare with? Or will it be close to enterprise offering where price is dependent on who you are or what kind of budget do you have? So, well, that's I think this is one of the biggest challenge for pretty much anyone. I mean, you definitely want to look into a solution only if you understand that there is even significant small chance for you to purchase it. Right now, I have no clue how much it will cost, and they say pricing will be announced after public beta. Well, we'll see. Beta is there, you can go and try it. I didn't do this because, as I said, I have no clue about pricing. So, well, a few other things announced. HashiCorp console 1.9. I'm not expert in that one, but I'm pretty much aware about Terraform 0.14, which we'll cover in much more details later. So Waypoint. Before going to Terraform, let's talk about Waypoint. Waypoint is, as I said, is one of that project which always felt like missing. If you talk to people who use variety of HashiCorp products, you can often tell that they are using a bunch of these tools like Packer or Background or Terraform or Console, but there is still something missing. And for me personally, I was like expecting to see some addition related to continuous integration, continuous deployment flow, because that's what for me felt like the most critical or one of the most missing part. And that's what Waypoint's up. Well, what Waypoint is doing is pretty much, well, I don't have this diagram right now in front of me, I guess. No, but I can just explain a little bit here. So what Waypoint is doing is taking care of things related to, let's say, if you look into continuous, not continuous, but software delivery lifecycle. You will see that it starts from like writing code, running tests, building, deploying or provisioning, deploying, monitoring, and sometimes decommissioning. So something along this line. And you can see that Terraform and many other players are already pretty well fit into this process, and there are already tools around that. But Waypoint is actually doing this from HashiCorp point of view, where there is one tool, very simplified or very straightforward approach to manage resources, where you write just single configuration file. Again, when you hear single configuration file, it reminds the principles of HashiCorp, where you use simple language like HCL, where you describe something in readable format, and then you describe this configuration file, and you pretty much declare what do you want to achieve. So you can define steps for building, like how to build your stuff, how to deploy your stuff, like literally which platform do you want to deploy. You provide some configuration parameters there, and then you specify what is actually going to be happening during release of this, during the release stage. And this is where you currently can integrate with something like, let's say, GitHub Action can trigger the release, or Slack chat ops can trigger release, or something else. Again, this is a little bit too new for everyone to understand, and especially to give it a try, but overall it looks very prominent, because we have already tools which we use to do that. But this market of these tools is significantly fragmented right now, where I remember that when I deploy something to, let's say, EC2 instances, what can I do? Well, I can variety of things. Most likely it will be a mutable image produced by Packer, but if I deploy to EC2, but I want to use ECS, for example, there are even more variety of things which I can use or which I can choose from. For example, I may use something like literally a shell script which will talk to AWS CLI, and it will update ECS task definition and so on. But then I can also do the same things using Terraform, and literally I run just Terraform apply and let Terraform to do this release. Well, if I'm doing this in multiple ways, that's pretty much wasting of time. That's where we have right now. We have a lot of cloud providers. We have a lot of options how we can release things. We have a lot of tools how we can do this. So it's actually a pretty good idea to go to try to streamline this process, try to figure out what are the similarities of these tools. What can we do this, like how can we do this process a little bit straightforward or more straightforward. Right now this tool is well, it is 0.0001 according to many people, but I'm quite sure that flexibility, which is built in using pluggable interfaces, because the core feature of these add-ons is built in already, and it's built in quite steadily, so that everything what you can do can be extended using plugins. Well, I assume that there will be situation that some of these plugins are way behind some features, or something is not yet supported across different platforms. So we still have this race, and I think this race is just going to stay with us for a very long time, because the speed how AWS is announcing and releasing new features is just crazy. It's an amount of new services which they publish is just insane. As I usually see this speed and velocity of releasing new services by AWS is usually increasing as we are getting closer to AWS reInvent, but I think it will be still like large amount of services released by all of these cloud providers. So I think overall this tool is also pretty cool, because you have one UI or one CLI, sorry, by default. So you can write something like Waypoint logs and see logs from that installation. If you've been using different tools, let's say which deploys to ECS, there are a bunch of tools which you can do where you can do exactly the same things. For example, to see logs from the service. The one which I was using was called AWS Logs. I think it was written in Python, and it accepts a bunch of different regular expressions, and it was quite good for that time. When I'm working with serverless, there are also few tools. If I use serverless framework, then I can write just SLS logs, or if I'm using some hosted solutions, then I can use something like Epsagon, and I can see logs there, which is quite cool and very easy to use. So thanks Epsagon for doing a great job. And overall, we can actually see how different additional features of software delivery lifecycle related to building, deploying, and releasing are actually easily visible for us. So think about this as we can actually see and execute literally any process we want from that environment. So we have access to that environment by just writing waypoint exec, and we are connecting to that deployment. We can also see preview URLs the way we want. They're running on waypoint run. And yeah, if you are following ClickOps, you can still do this. So you go to web UI, which will be available for you, and you see all of environments, deployments, whatever you have available there. I think it's pretty cool to be able to see this. And as you can understand, the complexity of management, all of this is actually stored inside of HCL files. So yes, you have to use HCL file to define all of your processes, all of your environments, all of your configurations. But instead of having this in 20 different places, you have few HCL files. From what I understand during the demo, you can have multiple environments inside of one file. But I'm a little bit unsure why this was not shown exactly in the demo. In the demo, information was copy-pasted, and yeah, well, you can look into documentation, maybe you have better understanding. Overall, this kind of tool is not replacing any existing CI/CD tools. So if you do something related to your continuous integration or continuous delivery already using GitHub, CircleCI, or any other tools, the thing which you need to do is that you will have to install Waypoint binary and just run Waypoint init, Waypoint up, or Waypoint logs, or whatever you want. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, extensible plugin interface, I think that's kind of state of the art, because the way how easy and how powerful plugins can be depends, like not depends, but defines whether this tool will be successful. And from what I have heard already from the developers is that they're quite proud that plugins are built this way. Time will show, but nevertheless, this is definitely a great tool. Again, consistency of workflow is important. Amount of code which you write here and amount of platforms where you want to deploy currently is matrix, right? So you write code in at least like 2 languages, some for front end, some for back end, and you have one platform, well, probably one platform for back end and one platform for front end, right? So something like ECS and Netlify, for example. But then you want to say, hey, I now want to start working with serverless, and you now write some code in serverless language or serverless function in any of this language, and you need to just configure how your deployment platform will look like, which literally means add one block for defining how to build your application artifact and where you want it to deploy. In this case, it will be most likely AWS Lambda. Well, I am also a little bit surprised that there were no single mention of AWS Lambda in this case. Well, yes, it says we support already Google Cloud Run, but there were no clear answer or no clear indicator that AWS Lambda is going to be supported in the near future. Because when I looked into into GitHub, well, where is GitHub? Here is GitHub. So I looked into GitHub, and there is a pretty cool project with examples. Well, examples, where is example? No, that's just tutorial. Well, there is a Waypoint examples, and there is simply no section which says anything about Lambda, or I couldn't find it. Maybe there is some plans going to be released, or maybe just not in primary like scope, but I would really prefer to have simplification of operating Lambda functions on AWS, because hey, I already use something to define my infrastructure, and please help me to do simple things related to deployment. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool to see PHP as language of Waypoint examples, right? I don't think there is anything related to PHP in the whole organization. Yeah, good start, HashiCorp. Now it's time to write PHP. Well, okay. So talking about serverless and Terraform, that's one of the reasons why some time ago I have published the serverless TF, because I don't want people to struggle with accidental complexity of using many tools. And that was exactly the reason why I want to simplify amount or reduce amount of tools to write serverless application code, to handle infrastructure management, to handle application deployment, because for all of that, Terraform is pretty good fit. It's far from perfect, I have to admit again, but it's the best tool out there which can do this. So I see this as a great alternative to, again, reduce scope for Terraform, because Terraform is good for managing just dependencies like infrastructure dependencies, but then produce artifact using Waypoint. So I will definitely take a look more on this and see how it actually works. Okay, so this was pretty much it about Waypoint. There were not many other things related to what I'm curious about. For example, there were some things related to new release of console or new release of well, what else was? Yeah, console, Vault. Well, that's great. I mean, that's typical, right? I mean, HashiCorp release a lot of interesting things from time to time, and time will show how good and how useful these products are. So we'll see. Actually, for this stream, I have prepared, or at least not me alone, but I have discussed with a friend of mine. Let me see if he is with us. Some of you may know him already. All right. Okay. His name is Viktor Turbinsky. Here you are. Well, yeah, Nomad10 plus namespaces. Let me share my screen and let me actually introduce Viktor. Viktor probably can talk about some other things which he finds useful, which are not related to Terraform. Because Terraform itself will probably take about half hour or maybe 1 hour for me to review, because it's just big. So 1 second, let me bring Viktor here. Viktor, we can hear you if you unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself?
All right.
Well, we can hear you. Just 1 second. I have no clue how to do this to work. So maybe...
Can't hear you. 1 moment.
Well, you should hear me now.
All right, it's better.
Yeah, it's better, but just make sure that you mute YouTube.
Yes, I did it.
Cool. So
right.
Feel free to share your face, and we can see you, because now you are now you're with us. Cool.
Hey,
that's
folks,
great.
I'm here.
Cool. So can you tell us something what is pretty cool from your point of view related to HashiConf announcements? And specifically, I'm curious about things which I have not covered, because, as I said, I'm not expert in those tools, or I'm not following them so closely.
Yeah, I'm not following so close as well. So many projects, such as Nomad. So a lot of people, they pretty excited about the release of Nomad 1.0, and that HashiCorp, they released namespaces for open source. So this is a good thing. So their features that the part of enterprise, they eventually become an open source part. So that's a good stuff. So Nomad 1.0 is coming. That's a thing. Also, I played a bit with Waypoint the last night. Not so many features. But pretty excited about the simplicity, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward workflow of the Waypoint. Right, so you just do init, you do up, and it releases your application. So it's pretty good for probably your pet projects. It really worth to try if you have any pet projects and you want to do something very simple. So and try it. So there is you can add a few steps like build and deploy. Yeah, there is no step test, but you can do this locally on your machine if it's pet project or in Jenkins or any other CD platform. So also, what else? So it doesn't have any lot of functionality. So don't expect to be the Waypoint very filled up with lots of functionality. It's not at the moment. But yeah, it's very, as you noticed, Anton, it's very promising tool. Hopefully we'll see more plugins. So it's the Waypoint is extensible itself. So it's extensible platform. Plugins currently, they are integrated inside the Waypoint itself. So if you go to GitHub, the built-ins, so they currently built inside the Waypoint. So it's done for simplicity for initial development stage of the project itself. So yeah, you can fork, you can play with, if you know Golang, moreover, or you're just learning Golang, it's a very good opportunity to try write some plugins for yourself, and extend the functionality, because currently the build step supports just a few things such as Docker build, Docker pull, and something else. Just a few simple steps for build. And deploy also, it already has a lot of platforms, but I would be really happy to see Lambda functions. It would be pretty nice. So again, about the Waypoint, it does not replace your current CI/CD approach and current CI/CD tools. Like Jenkins not going anywhere, and for many companies. But for example, in the Jenkins, if you have a lot of steps and tools and probably Jenkins libraries that covers your deployment steps, so probably you could introduce a Waypoint at some point of time in the future to simplify all these steps and simplify the workflow. It really makes life easier. But let's see how it goes.
I'm completely sure that things will be developing quite actively. Also, HashiCorp asked us to use hashtag Waypoint up if we are publishing anything, so that they can actually see what we are doing and somehow monitor and actually get feedback about what works, what doesn't work. So this is one of that example where open source projects started, and now it's time to figure out how people will use it, and actually we define, or like we as a whole define the direction of it. It's not like one company who say like, hey, we think this is going to be useful, so here you are, and then you look at this and like, oh my god, why this feature even exists? If there will be a feature which is there, then probably somebody requested it. So it's totally up to community to say, or at least I will try to monitor how it goes with Lambda functions, because I want to replace some of my tooling around it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. There is a lot of documentation, as Anton said. And for example, about extensibility and writing your own plugins, there is already if you go to tutorials and documentation, you'll find information about the plugins and how to write them, how to extend the system. So I play around, and UI looks good. UI currently doesn't have at the moment exec functionality, so you can't exec inside your containers or deployments, but you can do this, of course, from the Waypoint locally. Mm-hmm. So doing the Waypoint exec, and it will execute a kind of kubectl exec or Docker exec inside your container.
Or you can always let Waypoint to exec Waypoint to do Waypoint.
Yeah, exactly. So don't expect a lot from UI. It's currently, again, it's a 0.10 version, so it doesn't have lots of functionality, but still it's already really good. Another probably thing. What else?
What was your other favorite announcements, or what do you think overall from last couple days?
Last couple of days, I actually expected a little bit more about Terraform. But what I expect we already has. We have the Terraform 0.12. So
what else to expect?
after this release, I have nothing to expect actually.
Yeah.
So it's already good. So there is plenty of changes in Terraform in terms of diff. So the improvements.
Yeah, I will talk about this in much more details. I just want to talk about everything and then Terraform, because Terraform is big, and you're absolutely right when you said that Terraform 0.12 could have been called Terraform 1.0.
Yeah.
Because,
exactly.
Yes,
and also, Yeah, as you mentioned, the Boundary. Boundary, it's a new project, and this is, I know, for security, from the security point of view, for those who actually work with, who implemented the security authentication for applications, who actually was struggling to, create bastions, grant access to these bastions with SSO, for example, single sign-on for your maybe workloads and bastions to databases. So the Boundary actually solved this issue. This is best of the breed tool. It's gonna be, hopefully. So it's not, again, replacement for your current tools, but it helps really a lot. Helps a lot with authenticating with your applications and workloads. So really good. So you can, for example, request login using the Boundary. It will grant you. You can see the sessions, who exactly currently login and where. You can terminate sessions. And you can see it's again integrated with the HashiCorp world, HashiCorp products very well.
Well, so not yet. I think this is a plan.
But it's not fully right. It's not fully yet integrated. Plus, there is no protocol decoding at the moment. And what does it mean? It means that you can't track what the people do with your system. So, they got access using a Boundary, but you can't see at the moment what they do, right? So for auditing, it would be absolutely killer feature.
Yeah. So. Yeah, right. I think, and at the same time, it's funny how the timing is for Boundary. After this announcement has been published, there were a lot of news coming from different places, including well-known companies in this area who say like, hey, but we have similar project and we were faster than HashiCorp. Well, but then it's your marketing team who suck because we didn't know about your awesome project.
Exactly.
So, and overall, the amount of people who said like, we were looking forward for something big happen, and HashiCorp developer advocates and a lot of employees were kind of preparing us that something big is gonna to be released, so stay tuned. It's gonna to be huge. It's gonna to be like so massive that you don't want to miss. Even though we knew about some of these things coming like before, as HashiCorp ambassadors, we have access to some of this information before. I still expected a little bit more on Terraform side. So if we are done with, let's say, like general HashiConf review, my last question to you actually is, what do you think about like talks? Have you seen any of those, or have you attended lightning talks? What was your like favorite talk, or what was your experience overall? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, of course, attended a lot of them. There is not much again about the Terraform, so I was expecting a little bit more. But the Terraform everywhere, so everyone using it. But I haven't seen a lot of like there is no rocket science. The Terraform is already there, used by many companies. So not so pretty exciting things. I very was excited about again the Boundary and all this new stuff, and the showcase of how can we use it. So that's pretty nice. There was also the few companies, if you review the videos from the HashiConf, that do the great stuff on HashiCorp Cloud Platform and all this. Enterprise features. It's pretty nice if you're looking for serious like the enterprise features. Worth to take a look.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The Terraform is everywhere, but at the same time, when I was following chat, because I was I'm always curious about what are people thinking and what was actually so exciting for them during these talks. when some speakers mentioned that, hey, we use Terraform to to manage GitHub users, and people were like, wow, that's so cool. Well, come on, this is 2020. You can do this for 3 years. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm really sometimes surprised that people cannot imagine that there are other things which you can manage other than AWS or GCP or Azure. There are 400 providers, not 300 as it was mentioned on Keynote, but 400. I mean, that's just incredible. And instead of managing just traditional set of resources, a lot of people also manage not just GitHub files, but many other crazy things. I'm not even going to mention what kind of things people manage, but pretty much anything with an API you can manage very easily.
Yeah, they automate things, and plus they onboard people, the new people on inside the company. So they create the PR, they review PR. So if there are new people or new projects, so I really excited how the people automate the Terraform at the moment, how they integrate inside their CI/CD platforms, and they automate things. This is amazing in terms of, again, onboarding on many systems, not even Amazon or Google or Azure, whatever. So other things, even if they are internal APIs. And system that expose the API.
That's actually quite interesting. Is that Boundary has an integration with Terraform. So Boundary has Terraform provider already, and Boundary is a tool which allows us to get rid of some of VPN tunnel or some sort of Bastion host, and consolidate all user accesses within Active Directory or similar tools, which means that using Boundary Terraform provider or Terraform provider for Boundary, we can actually specify who has access to what using Terraform quite natively. So this work has been done, and we are going to switch to Terraform now. I just want to say that Boundary release of Boundary has put significant not release, but there were at least 2 projects spin off during the creation of Boundary, and we will see them in the near future because people wanted to see that. One project I already mentioned last time was related to testing, and another project is related to documentation generation. So we will see this in the near future. It's public, but it's not so well known or well documented yet. So, okay, thank you very much, Viktor. If you have anything to add to Terraform, please stay here. I will just switch gears to that screen. Yes, to this screen, and I will go through different Terraform 0.14 features, and then we can continue talking with everyone on the same link. So actually, I can share this link. Can I share this link? Yes, I will share this link to YouTube, and if you watch this on YouTube, feel free to join this link, Zoom, and we'll continue talking about these things after this stream. Okay, so I will mute myself here, and I will continue. This is it. Right, okay, good. So what we have right now is Terraform. As you understand, Terraform is the main thing which, at least for me, pays the bill, so I want to talk about it even more. So what kind of things were mentioned? Some of these things were new, some of these things were not very new, but anyway, I want to go through all of them and explain this one by one. So talking about Terraform, well, it's probably a good idea to look into browser as well. Sorry, where is it? Here is it. No, not here. This is it. So yesterday there was a release of Terraform 0.14 beta 1. Some people say like, hey, this is already 0.14, and yes, time flies and new versions are being released faster than never. And here you can see some release notes by Petros and Michael, what they have put here. Pretty much all of these things which they covered here I will show in action. Specifically sensitive input variables and concise diff, as well as provider dependency lock. And if you are into ARM release for Linux, ARM 64, sorry, then you can get Terraform running on your Raspberry Pi. I'm not into hardware, so I'm not really gonna to manage my Philips Light, if I would have any, with Terraform. There are a few other things which you can do with Terraform than managing Raspberry Pi. So talking about Terraform 0.14, it is public, it is in beta. Of course, I think it's everyone's duty and like responsibility to remind you that please don't use this in production. If something goes bad, it's your problem. Well, where else can we use it if not in production? So here we are. I'm gonna to show you some code here. I'm gonna to clear something to just not frighten everyone immediately. And let's look into some features first of all. So there were a few features related to Terraform mentioned in the blog. Let me show them in action, what it means. First of all, I specify that I want to use Terraform more than 12.6, and I already have installed using tf env install 0.14 beta 1, so I'm using that version right now. Okay, so what is interesting here? Let me just go through a list of different things. So the first one here is actually a file Terraform lock HCL. So this file is maintained automatically by Terraform init. Do not edit this file and so on. While you may actually edit it, but there is not much sense. The point of this file is the same as package lock in Node.js or what else, pip env lock or any other lock file in any other programming language. The point is that you can lock versions of provider to specific hashes to make sure that your code is actually requiring certain version of providers. And that's the whole idea of this file. You can commit this file into your version control system as well. Then people who will be having this file, they will just run Terraform init and they will use only the specified version as it is given here. You can also write something like Terraform init upgrade, and then it will upgrade this log file as well. So pretty much the same behavior as with any other programming languages and package management system we have already. Not much to say about it. The second thing is Terraform FMT. So Terraform FMT, as you know, formats code, and it does it by reading this code and rewriting some lines. So if I add, let's say, some wrong number of spaces around, it will just format it to one view, and that's it. Here is where it is started to be interested. So as you can see, list. It just lists, not list of numbers, list of strings, just list. Previously, if you run Terraform FMT, it would just fix spaces around. But now Terraform FMT, if I run it, then it says that it's updating it, because what it did, it just actually added any list of any. So this means that if you have some formatting tool, or if you have formatted some code already using 0.13, now you will have to make sure that this FMT is not actually breaking your tooling. For me, I think it will be quite okay, because I have been writing this inside of bracket all the time, or at least most of the time. Well, so if you write something like list of string and you run FMT, it will not change it, but it will change just words like set, list, maps, and so on. Okay, so now we have properly formatted code. Let's look further. Line 12 says that we want to use a new function, which is all true. All true returns true if all elements of this function, of this list, sorry, is true. So true is true, null equal null. I hear some alarm, some fire alarm, but well, if it's in our house, then somebody will run and fix it. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, my wife just fixed it. That's good. So all true will return true when true is true, when null equal null is true. That's all. So what we have now is that when this expression is true, then create this resource. It should simplify some code when we have complicated expressions or complicated functions and comparison. This is new function which you can use. Sensitive in variables and in outputs. That's where a lot of work has been done, and a lot of things are still remaining to be done. Let me show it in action by just running. But okay, let's do concise diff first. Concise diff is quite easy to see. So what I do here is that I run init already, and now I want to run apply, and it will just execute it, and it will just tell me that, well, it will show me a lot of things which has to be created. So far, not much new, because it says known after apply. Well, it's not really meaningful to me right now, so I would probably prefer to keep this as well at some point, but anyway, that's not the point which this release is trying to solve. So I say that yes, I want to do this. I want to create security group and security group rule, and then I have it created. Now, if I do any changes, so for example, I change port from this one to this one, and I run apply. So now I should be able to see, well, yeah, my placement on this view is not very perfect. Let me move myself. I will be sitting here, and I think it's going to be okay. Okay, now when I type yes, here you can see actually what's changed. So we can see that 6 unchanged attributes hidden. That's exactly what this concise diff means. So concise diff just hide what doesn't make sense to be shown. In most cases, it's good, so we don't have to see a lot of things which, well, we don't pay attention to, so that's fine. Though there are some situations when we actually want to see what was the previous value. I mean, even if they have not changed, we still want to see what was the value which we had before. So that's pretty much it about concise diff. As you can see, you can like this view or you can dislike this view, but there is an option for you to disable it if you want. You have to set environment variables tf like this 0. So if I now like this and then Terraform apply, so now it should show me, oh right, it will not show anything because I haven't changed code. But yeah, the point is that you can set this environment variable and disable this new behavior. In general, I think you don't need to disable it, so it's good to save some space here. Okay, now let's look into sensitive. Sensitive is pretty cool. So what sensitive means? Sensitive in variables means that we can specify that this variable allowed Cedar blocks is going to be sensitive. And if we are using it inside of this Cedar blocks, like here now, then we don't want to show it to user. Since I have already created this one, I can just remove or change value. So let's say from 10, I change to 20. And I run this code now. So I run Terraform apply, and I expect to see this change right now, so that from 10 to 20. And as I can see, it just says that Cedar block sensitive. And I don't see which value was there. Because imagine that this IP range or some user password or any other things which you don't want to show is now sensitive. So you think like, okay, let's apply this change because that's what I want. It's sensitive, it's hidden, no one can see it, and that's pretty much true. Well, you can think, okay, I still want to do output of it. And you write something like var inside of output block. This will also not work. So if I run this code now, and what I want to see is that I want to see this sensitive variable visible. But in fact, it just failed and says that refers to sensitive values, not allowed. So, well, sorry, but you cannot. And as you can see, it's actually checking that this value is used inside of different functions as an argument. So there is no way to hide this information somehow, and let's say to get MD5 from it or to encrypt it somehow. There is no way. If it is used here, then it's sensitive all over. But there is a solution for that. So let's comment this out because that's not going to work. This is like direct solution. It's not going to work. But you have to be pretty careful with this solution. So that what we use this allowed Cedar blocks is that we use it inside of AWS security group rule. So we pass this sensitive variable. We didn't see it inside of output of the plan. We cannot get it printed inside of output, which means that it's not inside of Terraform state as output. So if we look into source code, outputs empty, I mean source code of Terraform TF state, here it says that outputs is empty. Okay, so there is no way for me to see where this is. But what you can always do, and that's pretty important to know, is that I think from Terraform 0.12, you can actually output the whole object. So which means AWS security group rule all is containing information about this Cedar block. And imagine that Cedar block is sensitive for whatever reason. So here we pass sensitive value into this resource. This resource got persisted inside of Terraform state. So here is it. It's now visible inside of state. Sensitive attribute is marked. So, oh my god, Cedar blocks is sensitive. So I should not be able to do that. But nevertheless, if I run Terraform apply and I wait a little bit, then I can see my Cedar block, which is now not sensitive anymore. I think this is a bug. Because, well, sensitive for me means that it's so sensitive that no one else on the planet should know 20.00/20 is available. It is also available inside of outputs. So it's not so sensitive anymore. But I'm not saying that this is a bad solution or you don't have to use it. Obviously you have to use it. You just have to make sure that you are not outputting the whole resources. And I think that's actually very seldom when you need to output the whole resource like this. So just be careful when you do this. Most likely you will control what kind of things you're outputting, and when you run Terraform apply and you try to output sensitive, you simply will not be able to do this. So that's pretty much it about sensitive things. And yeah, that's pretty much it about sensitive. Now let me show another interesting feature related to optional object type attributes, which is shown here. So what it means is that we say that we want to use variable which is called object with optionals, and the type of this variable is object with these keys A, B, and we specify different type for specific key. So A should be string and B should be also string. But at some point we want to make this B optional. So we can accept it if it's given, and we don't need it if it was not provided. It's totally okay. And let's see, here is addition from Viktor. Viktor says it's a first step on the sensitive info in TF plan state. There will be much more. Treat it like experimental feature. Well, yes, you're right. I'm not sure if it is marked as experimental. No, I don't think it's marked as experimental. No, sensitive arguments are not marked as experimental. So it means that they will be in this way. But you're absolutely right that they will be improving this behavior, and in the near future it will be probably not allow you to output values like this one too, but it will never be like, maybe never is bad word. It will not be treated as absolutely sensitive, where you provide some sensitive data and then it's not inside of your Terraform state. So that's not where things are moving right now. So if you are coming to Terraform as a new beginner and you think that suddenly your Terraform state file will contain this information encrypted somewhere, or at least base 64 as this map here, no, it's not. It's not going to be encrypted anywhere. Your Terraform state file will contain these secrets, but at least anymore it's not an experimental feature. It is already enhancement, which is which means that it will stay here. Experiment is another feature which I'm talking about now. This optional attribute is an experimental feature which you need to enable by specifying experiment inside of your Terraform block. So that's really important to specify experiment. It was quite interesting to see the discussion and this pull request, but let me just show how it actually works, or how it behaves. So if I specify this object and then I want to pass value, or if I can use default value, it's okay to pass it like A equals sum and then B equal another string. That's fine. The problem here with this object, and in particular why I am not a big fan and I don't even understand why object should be used in the largest amount of combination, largest amount of situations, is that optional is not the question. What I really want and what I really miss is that I want to be able to specify optional string and also comma separated, for example, or not maybe comma separated here, but comma here, and specify also it can be list of string, and it's okay if it's also even map of map of map of number. Well, if I close correct amount of brackets, yes. So that's what I want. I want it to be optional of separate types. This is very commonly needed. It's not enough that I can specify optional on just this level. Though I didn't try, maybe I can write something like optional of string and then optional of map, and then this is optional. I have no clue what it will do, but most likely it will not work in this notation, because there is no way to specify list of allowed types of attributes, and that's still open issue, and it's still important to understand. So many cases it makes sense to not use object and provide required list or optional or required keys, but replace all of this with just map of any, and that's it. Then you don't need all of this. Map of any can be not enough for you, then you just specify any and do the whole type checking inside of places where you use this variable. So that's also because this type system is not powerful enough, so that's why we need to use any in much more places than we would like to have in let's say strictly type programming language. Well, so there is not much to run here. As I can say, I can just run this code and it will work because B is now specified, and previously when I ran this code, B was not specified because this line was commented. Well, now it says something has to be deleted. Well, yeah, output will have to be deleted. Okay, I don't mind. Output can be deleted, that's okay, but this variable works as expected. What I cannot still specify here is that it can be, let's say, so what I want is that I want this value to be string if it is specified, or anything if it is not specified. So something like this, for example, I would like to write. There is no way to do this still, so if I write this code, it will not work because this is not string, it's list of string. Okay, so that was pretty much it about this release, Terraform 0.14 beta 1. Let me share my screen and go through a couple other interesting things related to this release. So first place which I have on my computer open, so 21 hours ago there was this release, so I always check this release notes. There is not much else what we can talk about really. If you think there is something missing, please let me know, we can maybe go through that, but in general it's good. Yeah, and what is actually the future or towards Terraform 1.0? Overall, from HashiConf, we have got pretty clear message that Terraform 1.0 will be released during 2021, and before that there will be, well, there probably will be 0.15, but from what I understand, it was not very obvious that there will be 0.15, because maybe 0.14 will be, right, well, there will be 0.15 because what is it, deprecated things will be, yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that there is Viktor who always can jump and can correct me. So yes, there will be 0.15 because this release is necessary to remove stuff which is marked as deprecated, so that we go to 1.0 with completely clean and the best of the best. Okay, so what else I want to mention here is this project. No, this is not really a project, but this is something. So when you're looking into Terraform AWS provider and you have no clue why there are 2.4 open issues and 640 open pull requests, which just makes you feel sad and think that, oh my god, this project is so slow and something is going bad, there are two places where you can go. First, you can go to roadmap.md inside of AWS provider and see actually how the team behind this provider is actually prioritizing things. So here you can see that most likely next services which will get some attention from the team will be Event Bridge, EC2, Image Builder, Lake Formation, Serverless Application Repository, and these kind of issues because community asked them quite actively. Earlier today I talked to one of my customer, and it was surprising to see that we have AWS transfer service here as well as here. So it is really active, and there is very big demand for this service, and there are a few open issues which is not possible to solve right now using Terraform. But you can always use AWS CLI for that, and it works quite well. Okay, so then you scroll below, you can read some other things. Here is another interesting section which I want to highlight, is research topics. Usually these research topics are written for people to be able to just discuss potential improvements in Terraform AWS providers. Not necessarily they will be implemented in foreseen future, but it is at least some direction, and it describes some problems which people have, and I highly recommend to pay attention to this as well. So for example, when I read about minimum IAM, pure Terraform resource, it's quite interesting to see amount of discussion which people have and what exactly they discuss. Yeah, really cool. So yeah, check out this roadmap MD. And I think pretty much the last project which I want to mention today, which was also released around HashiConf, or maybe before, or I don't remember, before or during HashiConf at least. Well, this project doesn't have a lot of stars as Waypoint or Boundary, but it does mean that this project is useless. This project is about syncing console directory with Terraform. That's pretty much it. Documentation is somewhere here, and you can go here and read about this example. Configuration option for console Terraform sync. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You may find this project useful if you want to integrate. Yeah, and the last thing about roadmap is that since it's public, you can go to milestones and then see milestone for the next version, and you can see okay, it's actually 100% complete. That's pretty cool. So you can see maybe there is something planned for 4.0, and you can see the whole roadmap. So it's pretty interesting to see that most of this information isn't public. And well, probably not most, but all Terraform related information isn't public. All Terraform Cloud and Enterprise, I guess, is not public. But overall, it's pretty good to be so transparent. So I think on that note, I want to conclude this live stream. And before I conclude this live stream, I want to mention one more time M0, who was sponsoring this stream, and check them out, self-service cloud environments, and they do this pretty nicely in a way that it's easy to integrate, and they have actually a lot of things as code as well. And yeah, they also released another project which is called TerraTag. Well, this project was released about months ago, I guess, but they are actively developing new features there, and they want us to be able to manage tags also as code. The way how they do this is not exactly how you would do this with your infrastructure as code, because it's a little bit too late. But anyway, I encourage you to check them out and give them a try. Okay, on this one, I want to say thanks a lot, and if you want to continue this discussion, you actually have two ways to do this. One way is that you join right now inside of Zoom, or another way is that you can actually share with your colleagues and with people you work. I think it will be, well, now it's a little bit bad, but still. Okay, you can just share this information with your colleagues, and yeah, and I think I never said there is button to subscribe, leave comment, or whatever else cool blogger says. So thanks everyone. Bye bye.